Liberty Nation. Truth is making a comeback.
Hello and welcome to another edition of LNTV, brought to you by LibertyNation.com. I'm Lisa K. Donner, Editor-in-Chief, and I've asked my fellow LN patriots to grab a glass of their favorite beverage and belly up to the cyber bar today, because we have a real doozy of a story for you. Without further ado, joining me today are national correspondent Sarah Cowgill, political correspondent and outstanding writer Graham J. Noble, and last but not least, our constitutional lawyer and legal affairs editor Scott Cosenza. Welcome one and all.
Hello.
So today our roundtable discussion revolves around a lawsuit filed in D.C. District Court that provides evidence that the Hillary Victory Fund violated FEC, or Federal Election Commission, campaign limits and essentially laundered the tidy sum of $84 million in donations through dozens of state local party committees to the Democratic National Committee and ultimately to Hillary for America. Scott, as usual with the Clintons, it is a complex web where you have to follow the money. Can you give us the highlights of the case as you see it?
Yes, basically what the Clintons were able to do was assume control over the coffers of the Democrat National Committee because of their ability to direct fundraising and because of the sort of hollowing out of that as an empty vessel under the Obama years. And so with their being able to assume control, what they were then able to do was direct donors who wished to exceed the maximum allowable contributions for the Clinton campaign to direct those campaign contributions to various state committees and groups, which would then pass the money directly on to the DNC or the Clinton campaign itself to be used to further Hillary Clinton's campaign for president, all of which is in violation of the law because it is a workaround for those campaign spending limits, which is impermissible. If those state committees were on their own volition wishing to transfer money to the national level organizations, they're permitted to do so. But it's not permitted to exist as a ruse in order to avoid these hard limits that are in place under federal law.
The Clintons and a ruse. What a juxtaposition. Sarah, I know you're a huge fan of Bill and Hill. What do you make of all this?
All I can say is, and they still lost. How is that possible? Lie, cheat, steal, still lose. It's you know, the same game they played with their foundation. They have no respect for anyone else in their little microcosm. It's all about them. They take the money. They do what they want with the money. And they didn't look out for the Democratic Party. They didn't look out for it in 2016. And certainly going into the 2018 midterms, they're in a world of hurt. And it can all be traced back to Mrs. Clinton.
So you're saying essentially that the Clintons put together, or Mrs. Clinton and her minions put together a shell game?
Oh, the Clinton cartel is still alive and well.
Graham, all this is going on while Robert Mueller is hunting down alleged wrongdoing by the president. But there don't seem many willing to talk about this situation with the Hillary Victory Fund. What is your take?
Well, none of that surprised me, of course, that nobody wants to talk about this. It's a horrible tangled web, and actually taking the partisan politics out of it, it's just one more reason why campaign finance laws should be entirely overhauled. You know, campaign finance laws are really they're like the tax codes. You know, it's almost as if they are deliberately massive and out of control and so complex that nobody really understands them except attorneys who spend all their time dealing with campaign finance laws. And it's deliberately a case of, look, if no one really understands all the rules and all the loopholes and all the exceptions and all the ways we can work around things, then we can, you know, we can shift money around however we like. It's actually interesting to note that this is only just being talked about now because, as we are all aware, Donna Brazil was the one who first really kind of shed some daylight on this subject in her book, when she basically laid out how the Clinton campaign essentially took control of the Democratic Party's finances.
All right, but I'm going to push back on you a little bit here, Graham, because this is an 86-page complaint filed with the FEC. It includes 20 pages of Excel spreadsheets detailing this. Now, I'm not sure it was so complex that the Clinton Victory Fund didn't understand it. Scott, what do you say?
Well, so you're both right, Lisa. So Graham is right that election laws need to be chucked out in their entirety. All they are restrictions on free speech. They're constitutionally impermissible, in my view, and they just frustrate attempts to communicate valuable information to voters, or non-valuable information, depending on the commercial and how well it's received. But at the same time, we do not have a situation here where an unsophisticated candidate or group of candidates suffered from not understanding these laws. What typically happens is a law is passed in order to control spending, and of course the money then flows like water around that law, right, and into spending avenues that are then left, and then those roadblocks are continually placed to block those laws. So I think clearly we have what is the case of just hypocritical behavior by Clinton and just another willingness, as if the world needed another stack of sort of on the scales of justice to support the notion that the Clintons care not at all about fidelity to the rule of law and only to their own accrual of power. So I think both things can be true, and we can simultaneously say it's unacceptable for the Clintons to want to rule others and hold them to the rule of law, and at the same time not obey it, and then simultaneously say these campaign laws run afoul of free expression and should be chucked.
So in my article for LibertyNation.com, I wrote, quote, "All this is right under the noses of the leftist media, and yet very little is written about it. While Mueller and friends are looking for a needle in a haystack, someone just might want to turn their attention to the elephant in the room." Sarah, what do you make of this kind of blackout or silence? I mean, there's the Investors Business Daily, there's the Federalist, maybe one or two more, but I couldn't find much in a search today.
No, I looked around too. I think one of two things are possible. Number one, everybody's afraid to, speak out and maybe call her on the carpet, because you've seen what happened to many other people who have disappeared out of public life. And the other is the Democrats and the leftist media. They have a narrative. They're not varying one iota from this narrative. And they're just going to pound it and pound it and pound it. And if it doesn't work, they're going to find something new, and they're going to pound that and pound that and pound that. They do not care about the law. They do not care about the Clintons breaking the law. All they care about is removing Donald Trump from power. So this doesn't fit their narrative whatsoever.
All right, open forum, gentlemen. Who wants to go first?
Well, I would just briefly clarify, because I may not have made myself clear earlier on. I wasn't really. It's not that I'm suggesting that the campaign finance laws are so complex that somehow the Hillary Victory Fund was unwittingly breaking campaign finance laws. I think they were very deliberately using the complexity and the loopholes, and they were banking on the fact that they would not be caught, partly because, of course, they assumed that Hillary would be the next president, and then, just like the whole email scandal, it would all just be buried. But no, I think absolutely the Hillary Clinton campaign was absolutely a deliberate practitioner of skirting campaign finance laws.
Scott?
How great it is that Hillary Clinton is not president of the United States is what I think.
Exactly.
And I think that also sort of speaks to why they thought they could do it. If once if the coup works, if the new king's installed, well, the king's not going to go after the people that helped, or queen in this case, whatever, him or her get there. And I think that's what the case is here. And also with the case, it sort of goes to those FISA warrants too, right? It's, well, who's gonna get us in trouble for this? Clearly not Hillary and her minions when we're in power. I guess again.
Well, that's about all the time we have for our roundtable this week. Liberty Nation understands how busy you are, and that's why you can now get our articles to go. For an audio version of our top stories, simply go to Listen to the News. That's a section on our website of libertynation.com. Click on the Play SoundCloud or Play in Browser tab at the top of each article, and let our narrators do the reading for you. For Sarah, Scott, and Graham, I'm Lisa K. Donner, and this is LNTV.
Liberty Nation. News and commentary, minus the propaganda. LibertyNation.com.